coming to you live from the pub. Hey, what's going on? It's an episode of UCF Uncut. Today we are talking UCF fall camp and reading between the lines. But first, we need to go over the UCF brew of the night. And today we have a special one. This is a PB&J mixtape sour. This brew right here is technically listed as a seltzer. I'm not a big seltzer drinker. It's basically a sour. If you like sour beer, you're going to love this, especially if you love PB&J. Let's take a look. So this one's out of Knoxville, Tennessee. It's 6.5%. And I just went to a brewery in Holly Hill, Florida yesterday called the Drunken Duck. Real cool place. Definitely, just chill vibe there. And they had this on tap. And so I gave it a try. I actually had a flight, tried it, bought 4 cans. That's how much I liked it. But for what it's worth, very cool can. Definitely recommend getting this if you get a chance to get it. I know they sell it pretty much around the country. So here we go. First time trying it for the pod. So good. If you like peanut butter and jelly, this is for you. I mean, it is awesome. I would say we have to give it a rating, as we always do. Got a little heat for the last pod. People don't know about Coors Banquet. All good. I love craft brew, so that doesn't faze me at all. Anyway, now for this here, this is a sour, technically, and I'm going to give this one, for PBJ taste, out of all the PB&J sours I've ever had, this is the number one by far. And if I could give this, I can, and I'm going to. It's a 10. It's a 10 out of 10. Overall ranking, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. So we're gonna keep this bad boy up here for the show. So let's get into UCF fall camp and where we're at so far. As of recording, this is Sunday, August 10th, and it's the best month of the year because my birthday is August 18th. So really excited. What I want for my birthday, I want UCF fast to come back. In the meanwhile, let's talk fall camp. So, reading between the lines. That's something that we need to do as a fan base, especially with Scott Frost and his staff. I love what they do because they set the expectation very low for this 2025 UCF football team. I mean, the expectation for this team is bottom of the conference, like lucky if we win an extra game than we did last year. Rebuild, no expectation from national media. They think this team is going to be brutal. So, when you're a fan of UCF, and the great thing about this podcast and what makes this different from all the other UCF podcasts is I'm just an average fan. I don't have any media credential. I'm not in the building watching practice behind the scenes. And I'm not tied to UCF football as far as upsetting anybody. I could say whatever I want, and I think I represent more of the average fan, and I feel what they feel, and I see it on Twitter, and I have so many friends that are alums from UCF, so I'm pretty plugged in to what I think the average fan feels versus what I think the credentialed media members say about UCF and how they report about UCF. And I think it's going to be a lot more clearer as we get towards the season and we actually start to see how the team performs, and you're going to get the truth and the brutal truth, whether it's good or bad. So reading between the lines as a UCF fan. So Scott Frost recently had his, scrimmage on Thursday in the bounce house, going live, and except the quarterbacks. Basically means everybody can get contact. There's tackling. It's live, whistles going, and they're hitting. And what I think is interesting is what Scott Frost says, kind of the same deal. He's really not mentioning any players by name. He does occasionally, and he did in that in that press conference. But basically, what he was saying was, we're making all the right progress. We still don't know who the starting QB is. Okay. How about receivers? How about linebackers? How about leaders? That's what the fans, want to know. And he's kind of like dancing around, not really saying much, which I think is interesting. And it's good. I mean, he's setting the bar really low. And he's not basically doing what Gus Malzahn did. And he's not saying like, KJ Jefferson is our QB1 and doesn't matter how bad he has been in preseason, like, in fall camp, we're starting him, no doubt. Doesn't matter how good Ja'Cory Brown was behind him at the time, we're starting KJ. And with Frost, it's the opposite, and he's just basically like, we'll see, the best guy on the field is going to start, and I love that. It doesn't matter if you're a senior or a true freshman. Whoever's the best is going to play, and that's huge. We'll see if that's the case. It seems like it is, but so reading between the lines, and what I mean by that, so Scott Frost really isn't giving us much. He's not giving us much. But you have to really, really listen to what he's saying and what his position coaches are saying to really extract maybe what's going on. And sometimes they slip up a little bit. Sometimes maybe it's intentional. But in this case, I uncovered a gem of a soundbite from a position coach on offense. Let's take a look at this one here. So we got Coach Sean Beckton. Guy's a legend at UCF. He's probably, he's been around longer than the car you drive right now. I promise you that. So basically, he's given his press conference and he's talking about the receiver room, and he made a comparison with a current receiver that we have on offense to a UCF legend. And he said this guy is basically just like this guy. And so when I heard that, I was like, hold on, pause, rewind, play. He said that DJ Black is just like or very similar to Brashad Perriman. And that's huge because remember, these coaches, they're kind of like not saying much about anybody. They're really not saying many names. And for him to come out and say DJ Black is the next thing closest to Brashad Perriman at UCF that he's seen, I mean, this guy has experience. He's been around. So if he's saying that, that's huge. Plus, we've seen some success from DJ Black in fall camp. And what we know is he's a speedster. He's fast. So if he's fast and you're comparing him to Brashad Perriman, who's a true receiver one, I mean, the guy, is an absolute stud, and he was at UCF. So it's like, if DJ Black is a true comparison to Brashad Perriman, he's our receiver one. And it seems like that's the only thing that is clear as day is that DJ Black is our receiver one, which is exciting because he's fast. He's a gem in the rough, came from Limestone. Nobody really recruited him. Nobody really knew much about him. UCF uncovered this gem. Coach Sean Beckton can develop receivers, and it looks like all he needs to do and work on, and he said it was similar with Perriman, he's got the speed, he's got the size, he's got the ability, the explosiveness, just like Perriman, but he needs to work on his hands a little bit. But that's easy, and that can be fixed. So, this is huge for UCF's offense. And if you listen to my last pod, I said on Sunday of last week, I already kind of had an idea of who the offensive skill position starters would be. And it just so happens that after listening to Frost this week on Friday, his press conference, and same with Coach Beckton, basically all of the projections that I had look accurate. They look like they're in place. And we're going to touch on that briefly, and then we're going to get into defense. So very interesting, but I love that. So that's huge because if he is anything like Brashad Perriman, and we have this true clear-cut receiver one, we have a solid running back room, solid O-line, and a serviceable quarterback. Who knows? Maybe Jackson balls out and he's a great QB1 and he's a dual threat like we think he can be, And that's just going to make UCF's offense even better. But even if he's not, even if he's just serviceable, he can throw the ball with somewhat of accuracy. He can protect the ball, and we run the ball, and then it opens up the pass. And we got a guy like Rashard Perriman, who we haven't seen as a true receiver one, with his size and his skill set. Not like Javon Baker or Kobe Hudson. Rashard Perriman was a very unique receiver, just absolute like massive receiver and strong and fast. So with this type of receiver in DJ Black and this offense where we know we can run the ball, like we should find success running the ball. And we have Dylan Wade at tight end. This is going to open up a lot of opportunities for DJ Black, and I'm super excited. This makes me feel so much better about the receiver room. Even a week ago, I liked the receiver room. Even if you go back about 2 weeks ago, I had my in-depth review against, us against Jack State, and I was talking about our receiver room. And so, you can pull the tape and see what I was saying then. Now it's becoming even more clear. So I love to see that. I'm very excited about that. So very excited for receiver one. So last week, I basically went over the offensive projections for skilled positions. But at the end of the day, I still think that there's a lot of talk about how Cam Fancher has had a lot of success. He's looking very consistent, which we kind of knew. He has experience. But when you set the bar for we want to win the Big 12 and we want to go to the college football playoff, taking a guy who's older, who has experience, is good to know that he's around to be a backup. But is he going to be the guy that's going to win us the Big 12 championship? I don't know. I don't think so. But I do think Jackson has the ability to, and he just needs to develop. And I think in this system, Scott Frost system, very similar to the system that he ran in Indiana. So he's familiar with a lot of the schemes. He's starting to pick it up a little bit better, and he throws a good ball. So I'm very excited for Jackson. He is going to be QB1. I've been saying that consistently. It's just a matter of time until it's announced. So we're going to log him in at QB1. So we got Jackson at QB1. Now we're on to receivers. And DJ Black, based on what everything's happening here, and it seems like he is going to be receiver one. So go ahead and lock that in. I mean, if our receiver coach is comparing him to Rashard Perriman, he's going to be receiver one. So you can just lock that in now. Now, receiver two gets a little interesting. I'm going to go with Marcus Burke, transfer from Florida. I think Marcus Burke is going to be a very good receiver this year. And it's interesting. This is not really related, but on Netflix right now, they have a series called On Any Given Saturday, and it's about SEC football. It's really good. I would check it out if I were you. If you get a chance, throw it on. It's pretty cool. But they're showing UF, and there's a clip of Marcus Burke. I think he dropped a ball, but it's a little clip. When they're talking about UF football and they talk about each program. I'm on episode 3 so far. It's pretty good. But Marcus Burke was in there, so it's cool. So I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Came from Florida, and now he's starting to really get some traction, and he's more experienced, and I'm looking for him to fill that receiver 2 role. So I like Marcus Burke at receiver 2, and now let's go to receiver 3. At receiver 3, I like Waden Charles. You've seen him in camp making plays. He's explosive. He is young, but like Frost said, just because you're young, the best will play, and he's making plays. So let's lock him in at 3. And then at receiver 4, probably Dwayne Thomas Jr. Heard a lot of good things about him. He might get a lot of playing time. You could sub him in. He could easily be a 2 or 3, but we're putting him in at 4 and then 5, which I hope is not a disappointment. But Bradell Richardson, we know he can ball out. Hopefully he finds his way up that ladder because he has the skill and ability to do it. So there's our receivers. And then tight end, we know Dylan Wade, my favorite offensive transfer in the portal from Maryland. He's an absolute stud. He's a dog. Can't wait to see him play for UCF. So Dylan Wade, we're locking him in, backing up with, Kylan Fox, great recruit, 4-star coming out of high school, Malzahn recruit. Definitely has the ability. We just got to get him the ball a little bit. Next, running back. Jaden Nixon is going to be our RB1. I just think that his background and skills from the MAC, what he did last year, he is a strong, steady back, kind of like R.J. Harvey, but but bigger. And, well, obviously he's not RJ Harvey, but, hey, with a good offensive line and the scheme that we're going to run, I think you can find a lot of success on the ground. So very excited for Jaden Nixon. And then next, Miles Montgomery. He could easily be RB1, but we're going to put him at 2. Think he's coming in, help out. Those two will be a great combo. And you got Stacey Gage waiting and Tavon Swint. So we had a great running back room. All 4 of them could start, but that's just who I have starting. Now, we kind of know already about offense. So let's take a look at defense. And we're not going to go over the O-line. If you want to look up the projected O-line starters, maybe listen to a different podcast, or we can check that out one day. But Paul Rubelt's really cool. Shout out to him. Defense time. My favorite side of the ball. Defense. So let's look at our DNs. This part is interesting. I think that my take on DNs, it's not like a hot take, but it's different than all the other UCF projections, it seems like. And it's that I think that sometimes in life, when you get a chance and you have no excuses, whatever it is that you do in life, and it's your chance, it's your time to shine, you had the practice, you had the preparation, you learn from the best, now it's your chance. And when you get up to the plate or you get that chance, you don't produce. You crumble. You are lackluster. That is the case with the D end that I'm going to mention and leave off starting. And he's going to come up from the bench. That's Malachi Lawrence. I think he should have had a great year last year, and he didn't. But we know Najee Kelly is going to start. Love him. From Miami, transferred, balled out last year. It's going to be even better this year. And with the right strength and conditioning, Scott Frost guy came in. They have those guys ready to go. Put on some weight. They're looking strong. Now we're looking like a Big 12 team. At least a little bit stockier, stronger. So that's good. So I'm very excited. We're going to have a starter in Kelly. He's going to be even better than he was last year. But if we're putting Malachi Lawrence on the bench and bringing him in, which is great for depth, but he had his chance. And last year, he didn't really produce. So who's sliding up? Sincere Edwards. My favorite defensive transfer of the offseason. From Pitt, absolute stud. He is a bulldog. Like I said, he is going to be a disruptor. He's going to be the defensive player of the year on our defense. That's just how I feel about it. And I feel sorry for whoever is going to try to run the ball or whatever quarterback's going to try to throw, run, whatever. Whoever's facing Sincere Edwards, you better try to double him up and hope to contain him because you can't stop him. So excited for him. I can't tell you how excited I am. What a gem. So Sincere Edwards is starting. Kelly's starting. Those are our DNs. Coming off the bench, we got, to be honest, Malachi Lawrence has a lot of competition to get that, who's going to be coming in to sub in because you got to forget, we have Isaiah Nixon, who's an up-and-coming star. Isaiah Nixon was a highly talented recruit coming out of high school, and he chose UCF over Florida. That was a big one. We got him over Florida. And now, he's got a little bit of time under his belt. He played a little bit on the back end of the last season, and he was looking good. So I think he is going to be coming in, and his stock is on the up. And then you have, one guy that I don't know what's going on with him, but Derek LeBlanc. He transferred from Oklahoma. He was a huge prospect, but he hasn't really made an impact yet. Hopefully, he's doing something and he's going to get some playing time. We're going to see. But really, that's about it. I really like Kelly starting, and I like Sincere Edwards starting. The rest of those guys will come in off the bench. So that's the difference between my opinion on the D line, especially DNs, versus what I'm hearing online, what I'm seeing online. All you hear is Sincere Edwards. If you do hear a name, people are talking, the players, they're talking about Sincere Edwards making plays all camp. And he did in spring too. So very interesting there. So we got Kelly and Edwards at the end. Now look at D-line. Woo-wee. It's a scary sight. This DN line is nasty. This DN, so the DNs are nasty, we know that, but the D line. Let's look at who we got. We got some great additions in the portal because we needed help. We needed help when we lost. What's his name? Oh God, Lee Hunter to Texas Tech. We'll talk about Texas Tech a little bit later. But okay, so Lee Hunter's gone. Big fella's gone, but we do have John Walker. So we're going to lock in John Walker as a starter. He's going to be an absolute beast. He almost got forgot about when he got hurt last year. He was out all year, but guess what? He's back. He's a dog. I'm so excited for him. For him to be back off injury and just prove everybody wrong, all the doubters. Just can't wait to see John Walker succeed. So we have John Walker on the D-line. And then we got a guy named R.J. Jackson Jr., and he's coming over from Tulsa. He is a big, big boy. Like, he's strong. Last year, he had 3 sacks and 35 total tackles at Tulsa. And you got to think, like, it's Tulsa. It's like, how much, support was he getting? Like, his DNs probably weren't creating pressure. The secondary was probably getting toasted. So, for him to have 3 sacks, on a Tulsa team that wasn't very good, it's pretty impressive. So we were able to grab him. That's a huge get. So I'm thinking, I'm liking Jackson, RJ Jackson, and we're gonna go with John Walker. Those two I can see, plugging in right away. And there is a third. This is actually low key one of my favorite pickups on defense, besides Sincere Edwards and Philip Dunham. Those two are really good. But is that it's Horace Lockett from Georgia Tech. Now, the name might sound familiar because when UCF played Georgia Tech in the bowl game, Horace Lockett was playing for Georgia Tech on the D-line. And I think he had 3 tackles in that game, but 2 solo, 1 assist, something like that. But I just remember seeing him in the trenches, and I'm like, oh, man, that's a big boy. Like, he's strong. He's blowing our O-line off the ball, and he's making plays. He's young. I think he was very young, like a sophomore. So bringing him in, Georgia Tech did not want to lose him. We got him, and that's a huge steal. So watch out for Horace Lockett. Horace Lockett could easily, him and Walker, take over those 2 positions at D tackle. And then, you got RJ Jackson in the wings. And there are some other depth behind those 3. But I like those 3 to be heavily rotated in. So now we're on to linebacker. Linebacker, as we know, has been very, very challenging for UCF since basically 2017 and then 2013. Maybe 2018. 2018 was good too. But yeah, it's been a weakness, especially in the last few years under Malzahn. But the good news is with Scott Frost's offense, how we run UCF fast, recruiting to Florida, our strengths is speed, and everyone making tackles, everyone chasing the ball. So having a defensive-minded defensive coordinator who aligns with Scott Frost's philosophy with Alex Grinch is awesome. And now with linebackers, we are looking at a whole different class of linebackers than Malzahn was, where Gus was looking at the traditional SEC, big linebacker. We're looking more for speed, athletes, agility, quickness, smartness. Those are the things we're looking for. And so when I looked at who we picked up in the portal, it's a whole bunch of just mixes of names that people, I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do. We'll see. We've seen this before. Expectations are low at linebacker. But now here we are, August 10th, seeing a lot, hearing a lot, and I'm feeling better and better about the linebacker room. And so we're locking in here Kelly Lawson. He is a transfer from Virginia Tech. He is a big, big linebacker. He's going to find success. I can't wait to see him play. So, yeah, we're going to put him in as a starter. And then here's the one that I saw a clip of on Twitter and was absolutely pumped. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. This linebacker has some pop. He has quickness. He's fierce and he's strong. And that's Lewis Carter, transfer from Oklahoma. Watch out for Lewis Carter. He is going to be incredible at UCF. I can't wait. So with Lawson and Carter, that's pretty much it. Now, let's take a look at the others. I was big on Cole Kozlowski, the transfer from Colgate. He's like Zach Thomas, Bulldog linebacker. His tape's great. Played a little lower level at Colgate, no problem. But he's like a dog, and he won't stop and he won't quit. That's great, but in the Big 12, that it's like Rudy. It's only going to get you so far, buddy. You're playing against huge athletic players in the Big 12. So just because you have heart and you make tackles at Colgate might not translate to the Big 12. We'll see. He's a borderline, backer. We'll see. TJ Bullard. We all know TJ Bullard. Huge heart, hard hitter, a little undersized. We'll see. I got him on the radar. And then Troy Ford Jr., which is also a younger linebacker, but he's laying the wood, and I've seen some good things from him. So really, we got two solid linebackers locked up. The third is still up in the air. We'll see. For now, I would go Kelly Lawson, Lewis Carter, and Cole Kozlowski as the starters. So we're going to lock those in. Now, DB. This is another one where we have tons of talent. Losing Chasen Johnson, all good, because I'd rather have someone who's all about the UCF, the name on the front, and not so much about the name on the back. And the culture change between Gus and Frost couldn't be bigger. So letting Chasen leave is actually a breath of fresh air. It's actually a good thing. And I'm actually really excited about this DB room because there's so many potential stars in the making here. And you also have to think, when you're looking at DBs, like, how good is that D line? Because if that D line can get pressure on that quarterback, it's turnover season. It's make a play season. It's ball hawk season. And we haven't had that. We have very little quarterback pressures. So it's like our DBs are left on islands out there, and they're getting no help. So with this new system, this new defense, the D line is looking real good. And if they can stuff the run, they're going to put teams in behind the sticks, third and long. And guess what? That's when you dial up some pressure. That's when you dial up some schemes to confuse the quarterback, and we make a turnover or make a play. And the DBs are going to really find success in the system if everything works as it is. The strongest thing is the D line. That's going to create a lot of pressure, and that's going to help these DBs. So with that being said, starter DJ Bell, transfer from Memphis. He looks like the most seasoned and battle-tested corner we have. I think he's he is corner one, CB1. Next, we're going to look at the second corner. This one's going to be interesting because really there's like four different guys that could take this spot. I love what I've seen in the bounce back from Antoine Jackson, making just great hands, great plays. Scott Frost did mention when he was asked about him making plays that he has hands like a receiver, and we don't play, guys on both sides of the ball, but if we did, he could play receiver. So he has good hands. Scott Frost sees that. We've seen it in videos on, Twitter clips, looking good, making plays, bouncing back. So I think the staff didn't really know or have any expectations for Jackson, but he's balling out. So he could easily be the starter, which would be great. So we'll see. But besides him, we brought in a transfer, Jaden Bellamy from Syracuse, experienced guy, likely to be QB2. I'm sorry, CB2, cornerback 2, likely the Syracuse transfer, Jaden Bellamy. So keep an eye out for him. Then you have the Henderson twins, Damari. I don't know, Damari. I think he could slide in at that corner slot, or nickel, or possibly back at safety. But I like him more at corner here. So I would say out of the Henderson twins, Damari would be the one who could potentially start at corner. We'll see. And then you have Jair Brown, who is probably our highest rated corner, who originally played at Ohio State as a true freshman. Then he transferred to LSU, and now he's at UCF. Jair Brown. So talent galore. And he could easily slide in there and start. Who knows? But basically, if I had to pick today, I would go DJ Bell for sure. Probably Jaden Bellamy. Those are the two. Maybe Jackson, maybe Henderson. Don't know about Brown. So there we go. So we got DBs. Now we're on to safeties. One of the favorite pickups of the portal season was Philip Dunham from FAU, safety, ball hawk. That's what I've heard from coaches at FAU and UCF about this guy. Super excited. Other players mention him. I think he's a leader. I think he's going to be one of the leaders on the defense at safety. Having him on the back end and a leader that's more seasoned is going to help out this defense a lot because that D-line is nasty. So if we got help in the back at safety plus a nasty D-line, we're starting to round out this defense. And so Philip Dunham is a lock. He is starting at safety. Very excited for him. Last but not least, we have Braden Marshall, hometown hero, UCF guy. Very excited to see him continue to grow, and I think he's going to lock in that other safety position. So there you have it. We have our starters on defense, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good so far here. Now, there are some positions that Coach Frost mentioned, and he actually liked what he sees. And he even called it a bright spot, which is interesting because usually when you say there's a bright spot, you're highlighting something good out of a list of things that didn't go well. And hopefully that's not the case, but he did say the bright spot was our special teams, and particularly our kicker from camp so far. And that is music to all night ears because our kickers have been a liability since, Matty Wright, Mad Ice. I mean, we got Colton Boomer doing over the head, runs to try to, I don't know, to get an extra point. I don't remember. He did something wild. He was just all over the place. It was just mental out there. But anyway, special teams, right? So we changed it up. Everybody's gone from last year, which is amazing. Clear house, cut everybody. They're all gone. Frost goes out and gets Pete Alomar. And a lot of people might say that name kind of sounds familiar. He's been around quite some time. He is also probably older than the car that you're driving right now. But the good thing is Pete Alomar, he's the former special teams coordinator. And he was at Rice. Okay, you're like, Rice, interesting. He had Rice ranked nationally, number 9th in the nation in average kick return yards a game. His kickoffs were averaging 26.22 yards a return at Rice. And you got to think, what kind of blocking and what kind of talent and speed did they have at Rice where he's 9th in the nation with those kind of stats? And it makes you just immediately think it's the coach. The coach is scheming up proper assignment blocking and specialty to detail. And here's the thing, just like in anything in life, if you find a niche, like something that you're really, really good at, and you are great at that, you might not be great at all these other facets of life, but you're really good at that one thing that you do. In this case, we got Pete Alomar. He loves special teams. He just loves it. And that's all he's ever done. And all he's ever done as a coach. So you think like you master something when you spend, I think, like 10,000 hours doing it. Or maybe it's 1,000 hours, something like that. 1,000, 10,000, whatever. You start to master your craft. He has done that. And so I think he was able to take a Rice team with probably subpar Division I athletes and turn them into the number 9th unit in kickoff return average yards last year. So I think Scott Frost was brilliant to bring him in and revamp our special teams because, boy, did we need it. I mean, we needed it. I mean, last year we might have well put KJ Jefferson back there to return kicks because nothing was happening. So there's that. Yeah. So now let's look at our special teams players that we have here. And I'm super excited because Scott Frost said this is a bright spot. And I'm like, okay, cool. Why? Why is this bright spot? I did see who we added in the portal, which I loved. We grabbed punter Anthony Veneri, Ohio State transfer. He has been punting, apparently pinning back the offense with bombs as punts. And that's what we need. We need this. Special teams is so important in today's college football that it's so underappreciated. And if you have a punter who can average, say, 50 yards a punt and pin back offense back in their own end, or even clip that corner on the 5 to 10 yard line on a punt and just turn that thing right on the sideline and have the ref run over there and spot it, I love that. I hope it's so close that I can't see from my row 1 seat on the 40-yard line. I'm like, and I need glasses, so it's tough. Sometimes I see the ball and I'm arguing, ref, the ball went out at the 1. It went out the 1. Might have went out in the back of the end zone, past that post. I'm not sure, but I always argue in favor of UCF. Doesn't matter. But anyway, so we got a punter who could pin that ball back, and I'm excited for him. We needed that. So he is going to be good. Scott Frost said he's doing well. So that's great. Great sign. And then you have the kicker. Let's be real. The kicker is the most important special teams member. They're going to put up the most points per year for UCF football in 2025. And guess who UCF got? People probably don't even know who he is. If you really love college football, you probably caught a James Madison game last year. Their kicker, his name is it's Noe Rulas. No Rulas, like no rules. Kind of cool. What a cool kicking name. No rules, but no Rulas. I'm from Florida. You'd think I could speak better, Spanish. I think it's Spanish. So yeah, he's a senior. He's experienced. James Madison transfer. I'm excited for him. He can bomb the ball. Like he can snipe from distance, which we desperately need. And this is so important. Having a kicker that you can rely on from distance is huge for everything. It's huge for the mental psyche of the team, the quarterback, the offense, and the defense, and the coaches, and the fans. You think about it. First drive, UCF goes down the field, and maybe a freshman receiver drops the ball in the end zone, and now here we are, 4th and 7 on the 32-yard line, and we trot out no rules. And he comes out and just drills the kick. The guy who dropped the ball, the freshman on the bench, people pat him on the head. Hey, it's all good. We just got 3 points. All good. We're going to get it next time. We're going to get it when it matters. But look, we got no rules back here. He's knocking down kicks. We just got 3 points. Great drive. Success. Don't even worry about it. Same with, the O-line, quarterbacks, anybody on a drive. If it's not a touchdown, you have a guy who can come in from 50 plus and you feel pretty good he's going to knock it down. That is a great thing, and that's a great thing also for the defense. Because if it's 3-0 and we're in a tight battle in the Big 12, all you have to do to tell the defense is you don't allow a point, we win this game. The game's in your hands now, defense. And so it's like, as a defending player, like, you hear that and you're like, okay, like, that's music to defense and ears. Like, if you're on D, you can control the game even more than ever because you're spotted 3. And, so the kicker can influence a lot, is what I'm saying. So I'm very excited about this kicker. So I looked up some of his stats at James Madison, and I wanted to see basically, what was his stats? Like, how good was he? And so he was 80% field goal kicker. And I think sometimes the field goal percentages can be skewed. You think 80%, that's good. Some people might say, so he missed 20% of the time. Depends how you look at it. You also got to think, he might have had a coach like a Gus Malzahn putting these kickers in tough positions where he's not going to make the kick, but maybe he could, but it's a very low probability, but you have no choice because you don't have a serviceable quarterback and you're not going to make the first down. So try to kick the ball. So you trot out like a Colton Boomer to hit a 62-yarder and he misses, obviously. and now his field goal percentage has gone down a little bit. So I would say the 80% field goal percentage for him in 2020, last season in 2024, at James Madison is good. 80% is good. But if you look at, and you kind of dial in on the numbers, he made 2 kicks from 50 plus last year. And his extra points, he was near automatic. He was 35 for 37, 94.6%. Love that. Love that. When we score a touchdown, okay, you're feeling good. You're feeling good. The last thing you want is to see something happen and your kicker miss an extra point. The vibe just goes from here all the way down to here. And now it's 6 points instead of 7. And it really could throw the whole game off. So extra points are crucial. And it all starts with special teams. But the kicker is very important. I'm very excited for our kicking. So this is huge, having a good kicker. All the ingredients for a successful team. So let's talk a little bit more just about general things now. We kind of knocked out who we got offensively and defensively that should start, kind of the fall update, reading between the lines. What are these guys saying at the press conference? Because they're not telling us anything about starters, but we can kind of figure it out from here. And if there's some surprises, great. But we're getting to crunch time. It's August 10th. The game's on the 28th. We got 18 days. So get it cracking. Let's find out. I think it's better to name a QB1 right away than wait. And I hate when people say, well, they say, hey, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback. And I think that's true. I think that's true. Name one national championship team that had 2 quarterbacks. I'll wait. Now, depth is different. Depth is different. But starting 2, disaster. Matter of fact, if you throw on any given Saturday on Netflix, the UF game, they tried to throw out Graham Mertz and DJ Lagway in a game, and every other set of downs, they're putting them out. They're alternating quarterbacks. And you could just see the rhythm is off. The receivers are getting thrown from different quarterbacks every other drive. It's a disaster. And we all know Mertz got hurt. Lagway took over. But in that case, you could see real time, like having 2 quarterbacks is a disaster. So have a QB1, have everybody get behind him and have his back, and know you have a serviceable backup. I get you don't want to play your cards, whatever, but we need to name a QB1 sooner than later. It's going to be Jackson, bookmark it. If it's not, I owe you a beer. If you see me at the pub, I got you. Hopefully not too many of you, but yes, I would be shocked. So what do we see just generally now? I saw a ranking on Twitter from week-to-week college football that was dropped yesterday, which would be Saturday, August 9th. Guess where they had UCF ranked? They ranked the Big 12 defenses. All defenses in the Big 12. I love looking at lists, and I'm looking for the black and gold. Where's UCF at? Where's UCF at? I'm looking up top. Don't see him. Dead last. 16th out of 16th. If you think that UCF is going to have the dead last defense in the Big 12 with Scott Frost, I think people just nationally don't see what's happening behind the scenes with UCF. They don't understand Scott Frost. They don't understand the situation that we're in, where we're at, who's on our roster, and maybe they don't care. Maybe they're doing it just to get clicks because they know UCF Twitter Mafia and just how we are as a fan base. We're going to get engaged and we're going to let you know. So that's wild. We will not be. Better yet, I'm saying right now, August 10th, 2025, we're going to play this back. This UCF defense is going to be top 6, if not better, in the Big 12 final season-ending stat. We are going to be top 6 in the Big 12 defense. And remember, last year, they had us ranked much better, and they had Arizona State ranked dead last in the Big 12. And now, Arizona State is ranked number 1 in the Big 12. So these people are like clowns that put these ratings out. It's like last year they were last, dead last. You had them dead last. They won the Big 12 championship and made it to the college football playoff and had a great performance and put on for the Big 12. Now this year, you're flipping them. You're going from dead last to first in your rankings with Arizona State. What a joke. I personally see Arizona State regressing. We're going to talk about that at the end here, a little bit about the Big 12, going around the Big 12, just some takes on that, but very interesting stuff there. So, yeah, they have us dead last in the Big 12 defense. What a joke. So, yeah, Big 12, around the conference. What's some stuff going on in the Big 12? Well, Texas Tech is making headlines here. And, hey, I don't hate it. Like, if you have the money and you're in the Big 12 and you can pay players and you can get these guys in recruiting, go for it. They just landed a 5-star recruit from outside linebacker class of 2027. That oil money is hitting. Whoever is getting these guys, whatever their kind of deal they're making with these players, it's incredible. And you know what? Like, blue bloods are crying like, oh, Texas Tech oil money. But it's like, these guys have been coming to all these SEC blue bloods and Big Ten schools for the last 20 years. So now Texas Tech lands a 5-star and everyone's all upset. It's hilarious, but good for them. Good for Texas Tech. Eventually it'll even out a little bit with this, but right now it still seems like, some of these big donors are really having a hand on how these players are being recruited. Cause like Lubbock, Texas, I think is like, I've never been there. I don't know. I'm sure it's interesting, but very interesting. So they got this 5-star. So good for Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is going to have a lackluster season, and we'll see their downfall. I don't like them. So we'll see. Next, BYU had a predator at quarterback. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know the whole details, but he's out. He is out of BYU. He is now at Tulane, which he probably will ball out at. So good for Tulane. They always somehow seem to stay relevant in their lane. So good for Tulane. So BYU's quarterback situation is probably a disaster. So you can just go ahead and throw them way down on the list of the Big 12 for their outlook. Colorado, Deion Sanders. He's back prime time. He's had a little health scare, but it looks like he's going to be back. We'll see how he does without his son, Shador and Shiloh. Very funny. Shiloh, that name. Cracks me up. Okay. Arizona State. Talked about him a little bit ago. Tons of hype. All the hype in the world. How do you come back off of that season? Returning your quarterback. A lot of players on defense coming back. A lot of returning production. Arizona State slotted to be number 1. People think they're like a shoe-in to the college football playoff. Guess what? They don't have Cam Scatbo anymore. The shrimper. I call him the shrimper. I don't know. He looks like a shrimper. Like somebody from Louisiana is like a shrimper. That's what he looks like. Just funny. I don't know. It's like an inside joke a couple buddies of mine. Like the shrimper. Thank God the shrimper didn't play against UCF. We still lost Arizona State. What a joke. But anyway, without him, Arizona State's a completely different team. They barely beat a 4-8 UCF team. So, I don't know. I don't think Arizona State's going to be as good as everyone thinks they're going to be. But we'll see. So, overall, I think this week is pivotal for UCF football in fall camp. We're going to know a lot more about UCF and where we're at in the next week. I think we already know by reading between the lines. I really do. I don't think that we're going to be surprised. I don't think there's going to be a lot of shocks. If you go over the starters I just mentioned, we'll check. We'll see. How wrong was I, or was I spot on? Did we miss a couple guys? Probably, but I think for the most part, we have a solid understanding of where we're at, and I like where we're at. I'm very excited about this team. I'm more excited about this team as I was for many, many years. And last year when I saw KJ Jefferson at the spring game, it was brutal. And I had a feeling then, I'm like, he might be really, really bad, and he was horrible. So I think we're kind of on the way up, and it's very exciting. So rise and conquer, right? Like that's the UCF thing. So I like that they're keeping that going. But yeah, overall, we'll check back in after this week, see where we're at. And then, we're going to go ahead and play Jack State. I already got a preview about Jack State and who we're playing. People keep disrespecting UCF, and I think that is going to be UCF's coming out party to show the world how good we really are this year. And Jack State, unfortunately, is going to be on the other side of that result. But we'll check in later. Peace out, Night Nation. I'll check with you next week.